So you know how housing affordability is the problem with people, choosing not to buy homes? They're basically saying, hey, the homes are too expensive. Well, it's not just the price of the home that's too expensive. It's also the interest rate at which they are borrowing the money in order to close on that home. And D.R. Horton's share price today fell quite a bit because they released their earnings report for the fourth quarter, and it showed something very interesting. First, it showed that they're selling less homes. Now, D.R. Horton, if you don't know, is one of the biggest builders in America, and they really specialize in these turnkey homes, not turnkey as in furniture, but turnkey as in there's no customization. They are pre-planned, pre-done, and you just buy it and you get the keys. You pick your model, and that's that. You can't customize really anything in it. But one thing that they're doing now, because of the demand that they're seeing, is that they are changing the size of the home. They're basically making homes more affordable, not by cutting costs because of materials or so on, or their profitability, but because they're going to be building much smaller homes. They're saying that the unaffordability of the homes is the problem and the square footage is a luxury. So they're going to be changing that, and it takes time because the lots and the zoning for the lots are in such a way. So they're just saying that one community at a time, they're going to be decreasing the size of the homes that they're going to be building. So we might see within the next year or two, we might start seeing new construction homes, in the 1,200 square foot range. Now, another thing they're doing are these buy downs, these interest rate buy downs. This is a huge strategy to get some activity. And before I tell you about that, I am Maciek Zaremba. I'm a real estate agent in Sarasota, Florida, taking a little walk through Urfer Park right now in Sarasota. And if you have any questions, give me a call, 941-888-SOLD. You could also fill out the form below, and I'll give you a call. But let's talk about these interest rate buy downs. It is the number one tool that builders have and they use in order to basically sell, 30% of all sales happening are new construction right now. And D.R. Horton is definitely one of the companies out there that's really taken advantage of this. So here's what the plan is. They basically go and purchase this giant amount of mortgages at a particular interest rate, at a low interest rate. And, they're risking some money. Don't get me wrong. They're spending, $250,000 or so on buying down the interest rate so that a certain amount of home sales within the community that they're building are going to have a low or a specific rate. For example, 4.99%. That's something I'm seeing quite a bit right now out there because I've been touring a lot of new construction communities, and I just started a new YouTube channel just for my specific area, just for these homes, these new home construction tours. And I'm seeing everyone is offering very low interest rates. So new construction does this by planning it into the price of their home. Now, if you're a reseller of a home, to buy down the interest rate from 7.25% to 4.99, it's probably going to cost you about $35,000, $20,000 to $35,000. So off of your price, from your profit, you have to pay that if you want to advertise that as an incentive. And guess what? These builders are able to place an ad because they have numerous homes for sale in a community. And they say, hey, listen, we're going to give you a 4.99%. Come check out what we got. We also have a nice amenity center, and your home may not have that. And then they have prepaid for that. Whereas a reseller is kind of stuck. They have to make that decision up front. Do they want to spend all that money on prepaying for someone else's mortgage? I don't know, probably not. So people are not offering that. New construction communities are. But let's move on, because the next topic of discussion is Florida and what is happening in terms of our population growth. We have so many people moving to Florida. It is crazy. They are mostly leaving New York and California, as it has been for years and years and years. But here's the thing. There's one demographic that's leaving Florida, and it doesn't surprise me. This demographic is one that tends to not agree with the politics of Florida. Those are the people that are 20 to 29 years old. Because under 20, I mean, what are you going to do? You're still living at your parents' house. You're not really going to leave. But between those ages, you have some decisions to make. And a lot of people finish college, then they get jobs and they get relocated. So they're leaving for that purpose. Others are just leaving because they don't like Florida because everyone is old. Because who is moving into Florida? The same people that have been moving here for decades and decades and decades. You know it, the retirees. And it's really no wonder that the retirees are coming here because they have the money to pay the high prices for the homes here. You know, some areas are grossly overpriced, like the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Though you can't buy anything there that's half decent for under $800,000. Whereas my area, it's a little more affordable. If you just go inland into Florida, you can definitely get some good affordability, but that doesn't mean that the jobs are there. And obviously the retirees don't care about the jobs. They are retired. They're here to live their best life in their final years or decades of their life. But of the people that are here, you know, one of the things that Florida suffers from is the affordability. You know, the median income in Florida, you want to hear what this is? This is not a good number. It's just slightly over $60,000. Now, if you put on, you know, your number crunching glasses on, Excel spreadsheet out right in front, and you start crunching, what does that mean for housing and for affordability and for buying a house? You will quickly realize that it doesn't mean jack. You can't buy anything if you make $60,000 in Florida. And that's the median. You truly need to make a good $100,000 to $130,000 to buy a home here in Sarasota. And our prices might be a little bit higher than the median for all of Florida. But still, it's just like so far off from 60,000 that you definitely need a dual income household with almost no debt just to qualify for a very high debt to income ratio. All that means is that you need to make a lot of money to buy a house in Florida. But all that may be changing, you know. Now that we have our new president in the office, he has said something over and over. He's going to make housing more affordable. And two ways that I think may be implemented to make that happen sooner rather than later. One is decreasing interest rates. And pretty much the markets are not expecting interest rates to decrease for at least half a year. So are we going to see anything in the first 2 quarters? Most likely, no. However, if we do start seeing some interest rate cuts, I am expecting more people to come out of the woodwork and buy a home. Maybe not relocate to Florida because interest rates fell, 0.5%, but there's a bunch of people that are renting and they would love to own again or just own in the first place. For example, right now, I am working with numerous clients who just because President Trump won have decided to come out of the woodwork and make a change in their life in terms of home ownership. So the presidency is something that I have seen really change how people are, approaching buying homes. In fact, this morning I went to a realtor pitch hour where we get to pitch our listings. I talked to about half a dozen agents after the meeting, and everyone said the same thing. Activity has picked up dramatically on their listings and from their buyers. And we haven't even had interest rates fall yet. It's just a shift in mindset with the positive expectations of the economy when it comes to having this new president. And whether it's this president or just a change in presidency, I think that's what it's about. There's more hope, there's a plan, and there's a promise, but isn't there always? Doesn't mean it will happen. I'm just saying people are coming out of the woodwork and at least looking at homes. In fact, I've had numerous offers on my listings. One just went under contract yesterday. I put another one under contract with a buyer, and I'm looking at 3 today, right after this video actually. And the second thing that can change the affordability and people buying homes is by lowering all the red tape when it comes to building a house. Whether it's a big building company like D.R. Horton, like I mentioned earlier in this video, or if it's just like single family homes on privately owned lots. There's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of extra expenses, and deregulation is something that Trump has been talking about. If that happens, we might have some action. Tell me what you think.